Hey there, race fans, it's race day, top 5 with me, Frank 5. Championship weekend has already underway with 2 series already completing their championship seasons. And boy, oh boy, what thrillers they were. Absolutely exciting finishes to declare a champion in both of the series that have already run. So let's talk about those thrilling finishes and our champions for 2020. Number 1, Sheldon Creed has clinched the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series Championship of 2020, winning last night's Lucas Oil 150 at Phoenix Raceway in a thrilling finish. I mean, the entire race, Sheldon Creed was running up in the top 5 in contention for the championship against his other 2 teammates and the Thor Sport truck of Grant Enfinger. And looked like towards the end, Sheldon Creed was going to finish the season second in the points, and it was going to be a solid season. He would have accepted the result, or third in the points because he'd been passed toward the very end. But then a late race caution came out when one of the lap trucks got crashed off of the back straightaway by one of the DJR Crosley trucks, and that led to an interesting bag of strategies where Jeff Stankiewicz, the crew chief of the number 2 truck team for GMS Racing, decided to bring Sheldon Creed down pit road to take 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. And if he got a good restart, he could propel himself from wherever he was restarting in the restart all the way up to the lead and possibly be a championship-winning move. And it worked perfectly. On the last restart of the season, Sheldon Creed restarted in the 9th spot, but down that dog leg, which just makes for exciting passing and thrilling action at Phoenix Raceway, Sheldon Creed made it work by passing literally almost everybody till he got to middle of turns 1 and 2, hugging the bottom lane as hard as he possibly can, kept the momentum there with the fresh tires, and he was able to propel from 9th to 3rd off of turn number 2. And by the time they got to turn 3, the leader, Chandler Smith, staying out on old tires, holds up championship contender Grant Enfinger, and Sheldon Creed takes the lead away and drives off, not looking back, winning the truck championship in a thrilling finish. It was absolutely crazy. I literally almost lost my voice just watching the finish. It was so exciting, so intense, and it's been a really good year for Sheldon Creed. He finally got to break through with a Truck Series victory this year by winning the Range Jordan Kentucky race, which people thought, oh, you just kind of won that by luck. No, he kind of had a good truck in that race. Then he went to the Daytona Road Course and had a very solid truck and won that race. And then he went to Gateway and won that race. He dominated the second Texas race, which got him to the championship by winning that event. And last night, he propelled with great strategy and a good truck as well, but a great championship-winning call by Jeff Stankiewicz, the crew chief for Sheldon Creed, to come in, take those tires, and propel from 9th to the championship on that last restart. It was amazing. And Sheldon Creed, congratulations. You are our truck champion of 2020, and we can't wait to see what you do next year, as he will be back with GMS Racing looking to defend and be the first driver since Matt Crafton to go back-to-back in NASCAR Truck Series titles. Number 2, the other 3 guys that fell short last night of the Truck Championship, Brett Moffitt was probably the biggest heartbreaker because running that lovely throwback to Jimmy Johnson's first Truck Series Cup Series Championship, his first Cup Championship back in 2006, Brett Moffitt was on his way to winning the second championship. And by the way, just remember, Brett Moffitt in the middle of the season, during the pandemic, he broke both of his legs, and he didn't even miss a race. He came back. He was able to run every race that we were able to have after the season resumed at Charlotte, and Brett Moffitt was so close to winning a lot of races this year. Didn't work until we got to Kansas. He finally propelled through and winning that race and got himself to the championship 4. And last night he was in position to win that race because he was basically gone until, as I mentioned, that caution came out for the lap truck of Dawson Cram crashing. And Brett Moffitt was left in a precarious spot, whether you stay out or do you pit. Well, they gambled and they stayed out, and unfortunately he didn't get the restart he wanted at the very end, got jacked from behind by Ben Rhodes, and he fell back into the pack and he had to settle for 10th place, and he was really disappointed in his interview, and you could tell him by the disappointment. He doesn't have a job lined up for next year. I mean, I think he'll be back with GMS Racing if they were willing to bring him back, or he could go to Arrow Motorsports, which he's been driving for in the Xfinity Series this year, and he's been really good in that team. So the future, we don't know what it holds for Brett Moffitt, but it was a really good year. But you could tell the disappointment in his voice last night that he really wanted to win that championship, considering all he'd been through this year, which you can't blame him. He's disappointed. He wanted it, but it's how racing goes. Zane Smith, Brett Moffitt's teammate and Sheldon Creed's teammate, also had a really good truck in the first stage last night. It looked like he was going to run away with the thing, but as the race progressed, the truck wasn't there, and he kept falling behind. Wasn't able to be as competitive, especially in the restarts. They really got him last night, and He wasn't in a good spot at the very end. On the last restart, though, following Sheldon Creed on fresh tires as well, he propelled himself up to second. The problem is when he got to second, Sheldon Creed was a couple of truck lengths ahead, and Smith just couldn't catch up. But it was a really good year for Smith. He won Rookie of the Year. Very good season for this team, and we can't wait to see what Zane Smith does with GMS. Now we know he'll be back with them in 2021. And as for Grant Enfinger, the other Truck Series contender, he, in the beginning of the race last night, the truck just wasn't there. Then they came in and made an adjustment in the middle of the third stage, trying to take a gamble to make the truck better, and it ended up working. He took 4 tires, and he had that adjustment, that spring rubber adjustment in the right rear, and he fought his way up to second. And if we had gotten, and that caution came out thinking this is helpful for Grant Enfinger, but he didn't get a good restart out, and he fell away from second spot back to 13th. So very unfortunate for Grant Enfinger, but look on the bright side. You had a really solid season. After last year, you were the regular season champ. You didn't even make the championship for because of the blown motor you had at Las Vegas eliminating you. So it was a great year for Grant Enfinger all around. Number 3, Austin Cindric is an Xfinity Series champion. Earlier today, Austin Cindric, just like what Sheldon Creed did last night, takes a late race gamble to come in for fresh tires, and on a restart, nails it perfectly to win the, if I'm pronouncing this correct, the Desert Diamond Casino West Valley 200. Kind of a hard name to pronounce, honestly. Yes, Austin Cindric won tonight's race in Phoenix, winning the Xfinity Series Championship. And attaboy to Austin Cindric, who's been, when he came into NASCAR, he was mostly known as a road course guy based on his experience in the Grand Am, Trans Am cars. But he made the move to NASCAR in 2016, late 2016, drove for Brad Keselowski's truck team. Then he made his way up to the Xfinity Series, and this year he finally got to win on the oval, winning both races at Kentucky, and he kept winning on ovals. And tonight, he was arguably the best car. That car had speed from the get-go. I mean, he literally had the car to beat. And then late in the race, we had a late race yellow that came out when Chase Briscoe, one of the championship contenders, spun around, and Austin Cindric was thinking, what do we do? And Brian Wilson said, we do what the Truck 2 team did last night in the truck finale. Come in for tires. We're going to win this race on fresh tires. And they did. Cindric got a really good restart. He was able to pass Justin Allgaier for the lead and the championship lead at the end. He passed Noah Gragson for the lead off of turn 2 and pulled away to win his first Xfinity championship. What a year it's been for Austin Cindric. He's been really strong all year long. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Of course, it was announced that he will move to NASCAR Cup Series competition full-time 2 years from now, driving for the Wood Brothers. He'll run a couple of Cup races for the Penske team next year. We don't know what races they will be, but we can't wait to see what they are, because Austin Cindric is talented, and I truly believe he's got a great future in the Cup Series. And this night tonight is all about him. He had his dad there, Tim Cindric, who's the president for Team Penske, and he works on the IndyCar side. He had his mom there. It felt really good for Austin, and you know, to show that he can not only win on road courses, he can win on ovals, and he is a future star in our sport. So attaboy to Austin Cindric, a really, really good season overall for the 22 team. Number 4, the other Xfinity Series title contenders that came up short, Justin Allgaier, a track where he's been so good in the past. Of course, last year in a race that was originally the eliminating race to decide who made it to the championship for at Homestead, Allgaier won this race last year and propelled him to the championship for at Homestead, a track where he's not really been the best at. But tonight, you saw how good Allgaier was. Not as fast as Austin Cindric was. He was the best car, but Allgaier had the next best car to challenge Austin Cindric. He was really good. His experience at this track really pays off. But on that late race restart, he stayed out versus Austin Cindric coming to pit road. And unfortunately, like Brett Moffitt last night, that bit Justin Allgaier in the rear end, and he fell from the lead back to 5th, and he was the second highest of the championship contenders. It was a really good year for Justin Allgaier, because early in the year, he really didn't have a whole lot of luck until he finally got a victory late in the season, and I was really, happy for him, because he's really one of the most likable guys in the Xfinity Series garage. He's a likable guy all around by NASCAR fans. Justin Allgaier had a chance to win this championship tonight, because he's 34 years old, and who knows how much longer he has till he gets a chance to win that championship. He will be back next year, and he will have a chance to win another title. So Allgaier fans, keep your heads high. In a great year, and you got a chance to do it again next year at a track that you have once again been really solid at. Justin Haley, driving for Colleague Racing, was the 3rd highest of the Xfinity Series title contenders tonight. But let's face it, watching the entire race, he was basically the lowest of the Xfinity Series title contenders tonight. I mean, early on, the car just wasn't there for him. Then they kept making adjustments. They kept making the car better and better. Unfortunately, it wasn't up to par to what the 7, the 98, and the 22 had. So Haley just gave it all he could, but a really solid season for the whole colleague team. Their first appearance in the Championship 4. Remember, 4 years ago, this team didn't even exist, and they started in 2016, and they literally fired off well, driving into the playoffs every single year they've been in the Xfinity Series, and this year they got to do it with 2 drivers, in Justin Haley and Ross Chastain. And Haley this year got to win 3 races. Granted, all of them were super speedways, or you could call them restrictor plates for the Xfinity Series, because the Cup Series, we don't use those anymore. But Justin Haley had a really consistent season this year. He has a lot to be proud of, and he has a lot to keep in place, and as he moves forward to next year, he'll be back with this team and looking to win another Xfinity Series championship with his organization. And as for Chase Briscoe, he was the favorite coming in with at least 10 wins this year. He's been through a lot. Him and his wife have had personal issues off the track, suffering 2 miscarriages, which is very, very sad. But Chase Briscoe has had an amazing season regardless of all the races he's won. He said, in order to go to the Cup Series, I have to win 8 races. He did more than that. And that got him a job to replace Clint Bowyer in the 14 car for 2021 and drive for Stewart-Haas Racing. I mean, Chase Briscoe is the real deal. And today, he had a really good car in the early stages of the race. And then as the race get going on, the car just got loose and loose and loose, and they just tried to tighten it up, but it just kept getting looser. And I was at the very end, he brought out the last caution. Unfortunately, he had to settle for a 9th place finish, the lowest of the Championship 4. But Briscoe has a lot to has a lot to be happy about. He had a really solid season, a really consistent year, and he moves to the Cup Series next year. So Chase Briscoe, we look forward to seeing what you can bring to the table for Stewart-Haas Racing and NASCAR in the Cup Series next year in 2021. We are looking forward to it, and congrats on a consistent season. And congrats to all of the Xfinity and Truck Series contenders this year. They all that were battling for the title. They all had a very, very solid season. And number 5, Phoenix Raceway. So far, if I had to rate this move to make Phoenix Raceway the championship weekend for all the series, so far, it is living up to the hype. This track is perfect for the Championship 4. I was skeptical when NASCAR made the decision to end Homestead as the Championship 4 finale like we've had the last couple of years and move it to Phoenix. I'm like, Phoenix, okay, that's a 1-mile track, kind of a short track. That could be very interesting. So far, with the late race restart drama, it is living up to the hype. I mean, it's just amazing. I can't wait to see what it brings to the Cup Series tomorrow. I got a good feeling. Hopefully, we have a late race yellow that will determine who wins the Cup Series championship. Phoenix Raceway so far is a perfect spot for this Championship 4. And obviously, this is the first year so far. It's off to a good start. And if it can carry over to next year and more years, we finally have a home for the Championship 4 that I think a lot of people can agree on. It's been a really good championship weekend so far. Phoenix, I applaud you guys. And also letting some fans come to see the Truck and Xfinity finale, and a couple of fans will get to come to watch the Cup finale tomorrow. It's really appreciative of what Phoenix and Arizona have been able to do to let NASCAR fans come and see championship weekend here. They're doing a good job. And next year, when that vaccine comes and things go back to normal, we can get this COVID thing out of the way, we will have multiple fans in the stands, and they'll be able to watch these guys instead of having to wear masks or being limited to not coming at all or just limited attendance. Phoenix Raceway, you guys are doing a great job so far. And I think you guys will do an even better job with tomorrow's race. So with that in mind, tomorrow is the final NASCAR Cup Series race of the 2020 season. All we've been through this year, the pandemic, drama, really scary crash at the end of the Daytona 500, all of that, all of the playoff drama, all of the silly season drama has led up to this as 4 men, and Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, Denny Hamlin, and Chase Elliott will be battling for tomorrow's Bill France Cup and looking to be the 2020 NASCAR Cup Series champion. And while those 4 are battling for a title tomorrow, we also will be saying goodbye to 7-time champion, arguably one of the classiest and greatest drivers we've had in our sport in Jimmy Johnson, one of the funniest drivers in Clint Bowyer, but we'll still see him in the booth next year for Fox. And Matt Kenseth, who knows what he's got going on after this year, but hopefully next time we see him, he'll be ready to go into the Hall of Fame very soon. And we're going to miss those guys so much on the racetrack, and we can't thank them enough for what they've done for our sport. So tomorrow is a very big day to end what has been a long season, and I'm excited to end the season on a high note. Who will be the champ? Will Jimmy be able to go on top of the victory, or Clint, or Matt? We shall see, folks. Tomorrow, the 2020 NASCAR season will come to a close. So in the meantime, subscribe, like. Congrats to Sheldon Creed as our NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series champ. Congrats to Austin Cindric winning the NASCAR Xfinity Series championship. Congrats to all the Xfinity and Truck Series drivers on an incredible season. And enjoy tomorrow's season finale 500 on NBC, and I will give you the recap of who the champ is and my thoughts on an incredible championship weekend tomorrow. Until then, y'all have a wonderful night. Stay safe, stay healthy, and go NASCAR. Let's go racing.